You're home. Yes, I finished earlier than I expected. He stepped into the room and shut the door, a sure sign we were going to fight and he didn't want the kids to hear. You said you were busy and needed me to pick up the kids. I thought it would take longer. He set his hands on his hips as he looked down on me. I had to cancel an important meeting to get the kids, Tara. You could have picked them up. Work. Perhaps he was banging his secretary, but his real mistress was work. I didn't know I'd be done so soon. I stood, not liking the feeling I was being interrogated. I took off my jewelry as I didn't usually wear it unless I was going out. Raising kids was messy work, so I didn't dress nice or wear jewelry in my everyday life. Now I'll have to stay late. My wife gets annoyed when I work late. I hated when he talked to me in third person. Yes, heaven forbid she would want her husband home to have dinner with her and the kids. I closed my jewelry box. What's this? I looked at him through the reflection of the mirror over my dresser. He was holding the letter from the lawyer. For a moment, I had a feeling of panic, but then I figured there was nothing to hide. Maybe he'd be relieved. He frowned as he looked toward me. You want a divorce? I turned toward him, noting that he still looked pissed, but not upset or worried as I might have hoped his reaction would be to my consulting with a lawyer. Of course, divorce was out of the question now. I shook my head. No. Then what's this? He waved the letter at me. I thought about it. This looks like you've done more than think about it. You've retained a lawyer. I'm not going through with it. He studied me. So you don't love me anymore. I never said that. That was the tragedy in all this. I still loved him. But we were too broken to fix. I wasn't even sure he would want us to be fixed. He didn't respond. Are you relieved or annoyed that I'm not going to follow through? I asked, genuinely curious. I'm wondering what happened to you. I laughed derisively. Me? It's not just me. It's us, Brayden. I work my ass off to make you and the kids happy, but you're impossible to please. He did work his ass off, but it wasn't about me. That's the excuse he told himself to justify the long hours. No, he worked for him. Well, perhaps you'll get lucky and you won't have to put up with me anymore, I said. So you are leaving me? I shrugged, and for a moment I wondered if he'd be happier if the cancer that was growing in my breast killed me as it had my mother.
Chapter 1. Brayden. Friday, 2 weeks earlier. I stood at the head of the boardroom table looking over the executives of Burrow Data Tech. In 8 years, we had gone from a 2-person operation to a full-scale global company. As we'd grown and expanded, other larger tech firms sought to buy the company, but we'd said no to the multi-million-dollar offers and built our vision. The company now made the Fortune 500 list. We were a success. Too bad the motivational gurus didn't mention the sacrifices that had to be made. I didn't mind the long hours, but my wife Tara did. She'd been a part of launching the company, but she wasn't at the table today as we reviewed current financial data. She'd made the choice to stay home when we had children. It was a decision I supported, but it seemed wrong that she wasn't here to see our profits. Another quarter of great growth. You're all an integral part of what makes Burrow Data Tech a success, I said to the table of men and women. We're larger now than we used to be, but I like to think we've been able to maintain a sense of closeness and camaraderie, not just between us, but with those that work to make the company a success. Heads nodded at my statement. Keep this up through the end of next quarter, and you'll see some nice holiday bonuses. I'll be able to pay my kids' college, Stan Gaynor said. A semester anyway, Janice Tobin said jokingly. I'd started a college fund for each of my kids the moment I'd learned they were conceived. After I'd grown up with a single mom who struggled to put food on the table, when we had a table, and worked 2 jobs through college, still ending up with exorbitant student loans, I'd vowed that I would never be financially strapped again. Nor would my family feel the strains of worrying about whether they'd be able to sleep in a bed as opposed to a car or alley. Work had been my salvation. The business and the financial success of it was my reward. If only my wife, Tara...